All right. We're back with part 2 of the Next Level Teaching Podcast here with the homie Tomisha Jessup, Traplingual. What it do? How you feeling?
I feel good. How are y'all?
Man, we ready to go deeper with you.
Yeah.
We ready to go deeper. Tori, fire off the first question.
I mean, let's just talk about the fact, though, if y'all haven't listened to episode 34 and then our first part with her on this part 1 and part 2, y'all got to go back because there's some good stuff coming out of this. And I feel like you and I have so many connections, especially with my mom being a Spanish teacher and living that life, especially as a native speaker teacher and then high school and then middle school. So you are still in middle school. Mm-hmm. So you're still at the same charter school that you felt like you were ready to kind of wash your hands of and be done with teaching.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of tell us how that has gone into the pandemic year, how that kind of went for you. And then we'll eventually kind of get into this upcoming school year, how, like what you're excited for and, like what you kind of see for this upcoming school year.
Okay. Well, first, the pandemic year.
Yeah, talk about it. Yeah.
You know, the pandemic year was not the worst, but I did feel completely burnt out by the end of it.
Yeah.
So during it was kind of like, but you know, it wasn't the worst thing for me because I'm tech savvy. So I enjoyed being able to do all these things on the computer now. But yes, certainly burned out by April, May.
Yep.
Between like something new every week. You need to learn a new platform or a new, it was a lot.
Trying to figure it out.
Yes, it played like we were playing catch up all year.
Yeah.
And we were just making it up as we went along.
Yeah.
And that's not good for my type personality.
And especially with a huge disconnect. I imagine you the type, but you got the juice in the classroom. We finna have fun.
Right.
But now it's virtual and I gotta learn something new. I could see how that could be. What'd you learn about yourself?
Oh, what did I learn about myself? That I must prioritize my tasks. I think that being at home, there were so many things I knew I needed to get done, whether it be work and home things. And so I would find myself in the work day doing home tasks and then
because you're at the crib.
Yeah. And for me, I'm just like, okay, no, I need to prioritize my day and schedule out my day when I'm at home so that I'm not overwhelmed with all these things and I'm just up running around all day, but I give myself breaks and that I give myself time to even get out of work mode. Yes. I think being at home, I was working constantly. I'm working at the desk. Then I'm in the computer. Then I'm in the bed working. I'm on the couch working. And so giving myself like a break from the work and not making myself so accessible. I had to tell parents, like, although we're at home, these are the work hours. Like, these are the school hours, and you can't expect. And all of my communication is via email and remind and text. So you may not get a response right away. I'm not neglecting your child or you. I'm answering 60 other emails right now. So I think so taking that into the new school year, prioritizing my tasks throughout the day so that my planning, I find, in normal school years are just zip and gone because I'm doing so much other stuff. And if I'm prioritizing like I started to do at home, I can make better use of my planning and my preps and things like that.
Do you feel like being able to set those boundaries and say, because I feel like a lot of teachers struggled with that, you know, separating this is my work time, these are my work hours, and not just teachers. I feel like everyone that worked from home, honestly, this past year has really struggled with that. Like, these are my work hours, and once those hours are over, I'm done. Like, I have to have family time, I have to have me time, I have to step away. How do you think you're gonna take that and implement that into this upcoming school year? Now that you're not gonna be at home necessarily, but
right. I'm not one of those don't take your work home teachers, but I think going into this next school year, I need to practice that because it was just such a relief to be done. People don't realize teachers don't clock out.
Yeah.
There's never, it's never a clock out. We don't end the school day and go home and that's it. No, we have to think about the next month, the data from yesterday. It's constant. It's constant. And so even when we're not physically working, I'm cooking dinner thinking about what activity I want to do Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's constant. So I think that going into this new school year, I'm going to really work on not bringing that work home. Like, yeah, there's something I may need to do to prepare. And my computer is always coming home with me. But I'm not bringing stacks of paper that are going to end up not graded. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even going to bring that into my space to give me the anxiety, knowing that I may or may not do it, but to bring that anxiety of like, oh, I need to do this and this and this, not doing it.
I'll say we taught in the building this year, the whole year. We were just concurrent. I say this past year. I feel like it's the year that never really ended, let's be honest. Right. But I got to a point where I was like, I'm not bringing my laptop home with me at all unless it's a weekend. There were a few times where we had the fear that school was potentially going to close down again or something like that. So I would bring it with me in a just in case type thing and leave it in the trunk, honestly. But I got to a point where I stopped bringing my laptop home on weekdays because I had worked enough during the weekday, and I was so done that I knew that if I brought it into the house with me, I would crack it open.
Right.
And I deserved better than that.
Yep, it's discipline.
Yeah.
So you all are saying I had to be more disciplined to make sure that I set those boundaries, because that first comes the discipline to even set those boundaries, and then the discipline to stick with it.
Yes.
And say, let me check this email, or let me respond, or let me knock out these papers. Like, no, take some time for you so you can feel more refreshed, revived, rejuvenated. For
those of you that have, like you were saying, Remind and text, I had coworkers that had Google Voice and teachers that were like, when we got a new email system, we had to like upload an app onto our phone. And I was like, oh, heck no. Because I wouldn't even let it be on this. Since this thing is around me all the time, I have my phone with me at all times. Who doesn't these days? Let's be honest. I don't want them to have, even though it's not my phone number, Google Voice still goes to my phone. Remind still goes to your phone. Checking, like if you have your email connected to your personal email, your work email, no. You've got to separate the two, or else you are going to burn out, I feel like, as a teacher. I feel like we have to set those boundaries, and I hope that a lot of us have learned that this past year.
Yeah. But what also we have to remember is, you can set those boundaries, but if you haven't done the work on the front end, you got to bring your stuff home, because you ain't going to be ready for class.
Yes, you do have to be prepared. Yes.
Get it, and I know that there are many of us, I am one of these, I can move on the fly. I may not have to have a set thing, but teachers, that's a requirement.
Yeah.
But so for me, it's like, dang, okay, well, let me get things together for the next couple of days. So I need to bring it home. But it's like, nah, I'm going to take a Sunday or whatever day to get completely caught up. And that way I can rest easy. I don't have to wake up extra early because I need to do this or get that prepared. It's done. It's ready. And so I can make those boundaries. But without that preparation on the front end, you can't have those boundaries because you're playing catch up.
Yes.
And that is the burnout.
Yeah.
It's the playing catch up. And most of the time, we're playing catch up from new things that are being dropped on us.
Right.
Yes.
We're trying to maintain the new stuff plus the current stuff. Right. But if you're playing catch up on the stuff that you know you got to do, you're going to drown. Yeah. Because there's new stuff coming at you. You're going to get 10 new kids. Your schedule's going to change. Like, there's going to be so many other things out of your control. And this is something I'm still learning 8 years into teaching. But you got to just do the groundwork. That summer planning piece is never something that I had a big buy-in with. Like,
because I know that's something that you did
struggle with. That is definitely a struggle of mine, because for me, I need to know who my kids are.
Yes, me too.
Before I can thoroughly plan for them, to know how it's going to be the best way to reach them effectively, to teach them this language. What is my schedule going to look like so that I can effectively scope my year? But without that, again, that comes in from support on an admin level. It makes our lives harder.
Right.
And so for me this year, because the pandemic and we were maybe going to school, maybe not going back to school, my schedule changed 2 or 3 times the first couple of months of school. I couldn't get into a groove enough to be prepared. So I was constantly playing catch up, and it burned me out. So now with this new school year that's upon us now,
What are you looking forward to?
Well, me personally, I'm looking forward to Traplingual.
Yes,
you all. It dropped in May. The EP dropped in May. So what Traplingual is essentially creating educational experiences that help others learn language and culture.
So I'm excited. Hold on. I'm going to break it down.
Okay.
But when you were on episode 34, you were telling us you were working on it.
Yes.
But to see that you executed.
Yes.
Come on, that's next level. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
It turned out so amazing. I've been getting really, really great feedback from parents, teachers, students, just random people who want to learn Spanish. And so essentially it's what I was doing in my classroom already. I try to leverage student interests with the content. And most of the time, their interests align with things that I'm interested in, too. So what I was doing was creating music all the time to help my students learn the phrases or the words. And so when I was looking on YouTube, all I was finding was sing-songy.
Oh, they're the worst.
Nursery rhymey. And I'm teaching high school and middle school. They're like, do we have to? You know, with enough relationship, they'll buy in, and they did, but it wasn't something that they was bumping in the hallway.
Right.
But then I'm like, okay, I'm going to teach y'all the same song, but I'm going to put it to Lil Baby. Right. So I'm in the car listening to Lil Baby like, okay, trying to put my Spanish to it. And I did. Came to school the next day. I'm like, okay, y'all, I'm going to teach y'all a song. They're like, all right.
They heard that beat.
Right. And then I'm like, okay. And they're like, oh. So, you know, it was a familiar song already. They were listening to it. I was listening to it. So now I'm putting the content that I want them to learn to it. Boom. I can call them now and they'll sing the song to me.
Yeah.
They won't forget it. And so I was doing that all the time and I enjoyed it. I listened to music. I love music, all types of music, but especially hip hop, R&B music. And so that was like, and so I think that also what I noticed was my students would come in on my prep or they would hear me leaving campus and they're like, who is that? Because I'm bumping the same thing they bumping and I'm bumping it. So that was
that teacher driving in.
Exactly. Yes, that's me driving in like loud. So it just worked out in my classes, and so I was doing it so often with so many different vocabulary lists or whatever other things I was trying to get them to learn. And I always said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna come out with a whole album. I said it, just said it. Never really put any thought or work into it. And then one day this year, I was like, okay, I need to create a song for my kids. So I hit up one of my friends. I've known him since kindergarten. I don't remember not knowing him. But that's what he does. He's a musician. And so I'm like, hey, can you send me a beat? I just need to put something for my kids. I didn't want to use an already made beat. I wanted something original. And he sent it to me. I'm like, okay, you know, so on the way home, I played it. I'm like, okay, what am I going to put to this? Am I going to use it for my 7th or 8th grade is what I was trying to figure out. And I ended up vibing with it the whole way home. I got home, I performed it for my dog, and he loved it. I was on stage and everything.
Tori would do with her babies.
That's exactly something I would do with my girls.
And I'm like, this is a hit. So I voice recorded it on my phone.
Yeah.
I sent it back to him. I'm like, hey, this is what I did with it. He was like, oh.
Right.
That's where we going with this.
Right.
Yeah, he was like,
that's where we going with this.
I was like, yeah, go ahead and send me somewhere. I think I just ready to go ahead and drop a whole album. Like, just like that. He was like, okay, I'll get you a couple more songs by the end of next week. Every day he sent it to me, I was done with the song. Every day. So then I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about what to do next, but I know I'm dropping it. So I'm like, okay, I need to really record this somewhere. So I went to the studio, booked it myself, went there by myself, picked up my little brothers and sisters, because I need some kids on the music. The engineer was like, where's your producer? Where's your team? I was like, no, it's just going to be me. He's like, this your first time recording? I'm like, yeah. I went in there. I told him exactly what I wanted him to do. No, turn this up, turn this down. I want it to sound like this. Bring my little brother in there. This is what you need to say on the track. Turn him up, stack him. He was like, I'm like, I'm a teacher. I can do anything.
Yeah.
Right. Come on.
That's it right there.
I could do this ain't nothing. I can get this together real quick. Just tell me what button to press.
We got to pause and talk about that real quick because that is something that I have been coming to realize.
That's a strong t-shirt. I'm a teacher. I can do anything.
Yes. That is something that I have come to realize as this past school year has kind of ended. I was like, do I want to do something else? Can I do something else? And I quickly realized as I was looking on Indeed and LinkedIn and like all of these things as what companies were looking for, they were like, can multitask. I was like, check. Yeah. Like, put 8 checks next to that. Right. Tech savvy. Put 8 checks next to that as well. You know, like, and it was just all of these different things, organization, time management, all of these things, able to like work on the fly. So many communication skills, all of these things that we have. And I think so many of us as teachers just think, and this is because this is what society has told us, you're just a teacher. The saying is those that can't do, teach.
And I think a lot of teachers are skills and gifts aren't being utilized in their schools.
Right.
So you see them bringing people in and these things are happening. And you see, I remember sitting through so many programs. I'm like, if I would have did this would have been way better.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
the best professional developments I have been to truly have been ones that other teachers in my school have put on because they know what I'm going through. They know the programs that we have available to us. They know the students that we're working with. They know what the administration's going to allow. They know the culture. They get it. And so I think you're right. And I think what you just said, though, I'm a teacher. I can do anything.
Certainly.
That's good. I'm telling you, that's a shirt. Ryan wrote it down. Like, I love it. Where can they get? Is it an app? Is it the actual album? iTunes, website?
Right now, Traplingual is music.
Okay.
Traplingual is an EP that you can
now.
You can find it on all major platforms. It's on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube, Pandora. If you type in Traplingual, it'll come up. If you type in Señorita Sweet Tea, which is my rapper name, you can find it. But also Traplingual, and that's just kind of to get you started. So Traplingual is products. So flashcards, they are workbooks. By August, you should have a whole Learn Spanish at Home curriculum.
Wow, girl.
Yeah, Traplingual, I want it to focus on reaching we have so many barriers, right? People of color have a billion barriers, we have them.
Yep.
Let's knock down the language one. Right? Let's knock that one down in a way that you already, it fits with our lifestyle. You can put on Traplingual and bang it like it's new Lil Baby song. New Cardi B, new whoever, whatever. If you are into hip hop, or even if you're not, if you just want to learn some Spanish, I've created something that I feel helps you learn a language in a way that is familiar.
And let me tell you something. All these kids, whether they black, white, purple, red, green, everybody love hip hop. You can't see the average commercial, whether it's about Expedia or a car rental commercial. You gonna hear a beat to it.
Yeah.
And so, if you look at YouTube right now and you only seeing these corny old school nursery rhymes, that's a whole field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me know if you need some investors. That thing right there. So
for sure.
I love it.
On one of the things that I'm creating, it says hip hop influences everything. It's time for education to stop vilifying it. Why haven't we started using hip hop to reach to educate? It doesn't make sense.
Let's book her for November. All right, we got to discuss that again.
Yeah.
Right. That's a word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not vilify it.
For sure.
Yeah, the art itself. I'm not saying that some of the, saying the language or some of the content of it, but the art form itself, it is everywhere.
Yeah.
And so that's good. So beginning of the school year, I know you're excited about Traplingual. What advice would you give to a first year teacher, somebody that's just starting, somebody that's just going, or somebody that's been teaching for years? What are you going to do differently this year that you didn't do last year?
What am I going to do differently this year that I didn't do last year?
Or what approach will you take differently coming from the pandemic? What jewels, what gems, before we wrap it up, can you give us so that our listeners can say, you know what, I need to apply this, or I need to make some adjustments there?
I definitely think that I'm going to make sure my students understand the importance of what we're learning and getting that buy-in. I always do these are the benefits of learning Spanish, and they're pretty generic. But really diving into the options and the avenues that learning Spanish in particular can take you. And I would say for whatever your content, getting that buy-in. So you need to learn this because these are the things that you can use with it, whether it be math, history, ELA, this is why you should learn this, because a lot of kids are like, what's the point of this?
Yep.
I don't get it.
That's the question
I don't care. And so without that buy-in and without it aligning to what they actually are interested in, I think that is the formula. Finding how your content and what you're doing in your classroom aligns to their life or their interests, I think makes all the difference in how a student is going to approach and learn and want to learn.
I think that would bring about a major shift and probably will help when it comes to behavior and so many other things if you feel like there's a purpose for it. So regardless of if you're teaching math or science or Spanish, like really saying, okay, this is the importance of it. This is how you can apply it with your life. Let me make it more relevant. This is what's going on in the world. Did you hear about what happened in the news? Did you see what so-and-so just won? And then tying that back into whatever it is that they're teaching, because we want to try to figure out connections. You decided to say, hey, let me do Traplingual because there's obviously a disconnect. These kids feel like these lullabies is boring. They don't really have a connection with it, but they really do love music. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this content and put it with a beat, and they're going to be bobbing their head to the beat, remembering it, and next thing you know, they speak in Spanish. So it's like your pursuit for being relevant is what makes you so resourceful.
Yeah.
I love it. Yep. And we'll mess around and make you hella wealthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's talk about it for real. Like, I'm a strong advocate for educators having side hustles or using their other gifts and talents. Tori is now managing and running a bridal studio. You know what I'm saying? So women is coming in, getting their wedding dresses, coming in with their family and friends. She's pouring into them, ministering to them, encouraging them, getting them fitted. Like, and that's who Tori is. She gonna speak life and she gonna love you. Is she nice with the math? Yes, but she's more than just a math teacher and instructor. You know what I'm saying? And so there are so many more aspects. So I've been talking to my boy Shivy. We've had him on here before, Alfred Brooks, and a few others. We're thinking of Teach, Hustle, Inspire. I think we're gonna be putting together a conference in the future that's all about entrepreneurship when it comes to educators. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely want to have you be a part of that, because I see this as being something that could be major. I mean, Khan Academy, I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. But my man was just doing tutorials on YouTube, and that was blown up to a global academy. And so I see Traplingual can be really, really big. And I'm proud that you have created it. And I'm grateful that you came back to rock with us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, when this thing blow up and you make millions of like, don't know what I'm saying? Don't be a stranger.
You know, if you want some math ones, I've written a few, so just holler at your girl.
No, but this is good. Thanks for coming back and hanging out with us.
Of course.
And you're going to definitely be one of the regulars as we keep on building.
Amen.
Yeah. Have a great school
We ready
year.
for some lightning round?
Oh, you got it? You all new ones for her?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm ready.
Let's
Here
go.
we go.
Oh, okay.
Let me get my timer
Get your
ready.
60 seconds.
Yep, it's up. And let's go.
All right. What type of milk do you put in your cereal?
Almond.
Come on with the almond. I was going to say, you better not say vitamin D.
If you were really hungry, would you eat a bug?
On
She
purpose?
a survivor.
Yes.
Yeah. I knew that.
Because I said if I went on Naked and Afraid, I would eat the bugs because that's it. Okay. Yes.
Have you ever slapped anyone in the face?
What was the student's name? I'm just playing. All right, 25 seconds.
Right, say a word in Spanish, because we know you can.
Bienvenidos.
Oh, that was a boring one. Pick a better one.
That wasn't boring for me. That thing sounded exotic.
That was welcome. Pick a difficult one. Pick a funny one.
10 seconds.
A funny one?
Yeah.
Oh, she going to absorb all your time with that.
I'm trying to be appropriate.
Okay. First celebrity crush.
Oh.
No, it's okay.
Michael B. Jordan and Hardball.
There we go.
Hey.
Ma'am.
She looked at the camera and said, hey, Michael. Holla at your girl. I'll teach you some Traplingual.
Woo.
Come get caught in my Traplingual, she said.
I need to be ready with those. People ask me that, and I'm be like, I don't know what funny
Come on,
word
like
want me to say.
brújula. That's like, it sounds
What's that,
fun.
arugula?
Brújula? No, that one's a witch, right? Or is that one a compass?
Bruja.
So a brújula is a compass?
Yes.
Okay. I never remember.
So with that being said, you guys remember to leave us a review, right? 5 stars, show us some love, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye, guys.